Hello, I'm Luann. I'm so happy to have you in my bookstore. There's Evan behind the counter, so if you need anything, please let us know. Please turn your phones to silent if you haven't already. If you want to, be really poetic, you'll snap a lot for our poets this evening. I mean, I'm taking this lightly, but it is National Poetry Month. And I believe that has to do with berets. Yes. There are some snacks and drinks. There's wine. Please help yourself. Be responsible, if you would. And the restroom is at the end of the aisle. And if you see Captain Underpants, when you see a Captain Underpants, take a right. There's 2 restrooms, no waiting. And I'm so happy to welcome you to an independent bookstore.
Yay.
And exactly, yay. We are not dying, as the news might have you believe. There are more stores opening, according to the American Booksellers Association each year. There are, there are some that are really tiny, some that are really big, and it doesn't really matter. We're all indie bookstores, and we love books, we love words. This is indeed Poetry Month. Can anyone tell me what year April became Poetry Month?
How about the 60s?
No. National Poetry Month.
Okay.
What?
96?
Well done. If I had a
Oh my
prize,
God! I can't
It was National Poetry Month was inaugurated by the Academy of American Poets in 1996.
Wow.
Over the years, it's become the largest literary celebration in the world, with schools, publishers, libraries, booksellers, and poets celebrating poetry's vital place in our culture. So I'm so happy to have a number of poetry things happening this month, but this one is especially kind of fun. And not just because I like dancing girls. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it. Dancing Girl Press is an indie press and design studio based in Chicago. Dancing Girl Press and Studio creates a variety of open and limited edition books, art, and paper goods. Go to the website, it's lovely. Since 2004, the annual DGP Chapbook series has been devoted to publishing innovative writing by women authors and delectable handmade editions, as well as exploring the intersection of writing and the visual book arts. Can there be anything more fun to a bookseller's heart? No. So they're in Chicago's Historic Fine Arts Building. It's in a building with a 100-year history of housing the arts. Tonight we have 7 authors, and their chapbooks are all in display there, as well as behind me here. So when each author comes up, you may want to just point out which is your cover, because that'll help people find it afterwards. But to introduce this, the folks who have kind of put this all together is Allison Moncrief and Kathy Shea. So please, if you'll come up and start us off, if you like.
Great to see everybody, and we are real fans of Dancing Girl Press, and we love being published by this wonderful female press. Anyway, what happened is, when I got accepted, of course I was overjoyed, and then it took almost a year for the book to finally get published. So I was, watching and waiting, and then I got a notice that it was going to, happen pretty soon. So I went up to the website, and I saw my book, she just posted the cover, which this is mine is really good.
Very nice.
Okay, so she posted the cover, but there wasn't anything there. But I was so excited, I just couldn't believe it. So I always look at all the other authors, I start going through there. And I saw Allison Moncrief's Dawn Draper Checks the Window, and I thought, what the heck? What a title! What a creative thing! I looked at the the cover art, and I thought, I got to get a copy of this. This is crazy. So really, so I ordered it without even knowing that Allison lived around here. And then I Googled Allison's name, and that's I found her website, and I found her Twitter handle, and I was amazed. She lives right, in the Bay Area. So then I thought, God, wouldn't it be fun to do a reading? So I tweeted to her, through Twitter. I messaged her, and it comes in very handy sometimes. And she responded back, yeah, that sounds really good. And then it was basically, I think, some time passed, because it takes a long time for you to finally get your books, and a lot of things happen. So around the first of the year is when I said, hey, I was looking around Oakland. I was not here physically. I was on the internet looking at bookstores, and I found Laurel Book Store. And I said, oh, that looks like such a great bookstore. So I told Allison, I said, hey, maybe we should do a reading at Laurel Book Store. And that is, I'm going to give this over to Allison because she sort of took over from there. And here we are.
Right, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. The responsible party here for getting the ball rolling toward tonight, because the fact is she contacted Luann to do the reading, and not knowing that I am friends and neighbors of Luann, and so the whole thing had this kind of magic feel to it. And then, so I'm gonna have to maybe look at my paper here, because I was gonna draw a little picture of all the connections and how this happened, but I think I'm just gonna refer to this. Anyway, so that was pretty great. And then we put out a Facebook call for a third reader, thinking, wow, wouldn't it be great if there were 3 Dancing Girl Press readers? And Louisa answered. And not immediately, but we set up a date for tonight, and then she put out an event listing, and that got the attention of Kimberly and Natalie, and they, I think, contacted Christy and me, and so then we're like, oh wow, this could be kind of a nice big party. And so then what happened? Then I got more names from Christy.
I guess
Contacts
Louisa,
that are local off the top of her head.
Oh, that's right.
And that's when Alexandra and Elizabeth joined the group.
Yeah.
So all in all, I found, we found 9 Dancing Girl Press authors who have current books right now, 7 of whom are here tonight. And I'm sure there are plenty other ones out there that we don't have right now. But so I just want to thank everyone who reached out and said, I'd like to read too, because the more the merrier, truly.
Absolutely. And I wanted to thank Louisa also for updating the Facebook event page, because that helped a lot, and that got people kind of noticing this whole thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
On that note,
we're going to start our poetry reading, and I'm going to introduce Louisa Flynn-Goodlett, and I'll speak into the microphone. Louisa Flynn-Goodlett is the author of the chapbooks Unseasonable Weather, Dancing Girl Press, 2018, and Congress of Mud, Finishing Line Press, 2015. Her work can be found in Third Coast, Granta, Quarterly West, Diagram, The Rumpus, and elsewhere. She serves as poetry editor for Foglifter Press and lives in sunny Oakland, California.
how's that?
Very good.
Middle school prayer. Give us heedless, skull-bashing closeness, all lanyards and boy bands, thighs clenched as teeth. Let us maul ears as practice, tug lips raw, then sleep anywhere, through anything. But we can't stem this current with lip gloss and Judy bloom. As slip knots loop new breasts, days dole out fewer carrot sticks, crane necks over porcelain. And there's no one moment when we begin to be shaved thin as truffles onto waiting plates. No day to travel back to, lay palms against fevered foreheads, say, come with us if you want to live. Nothing is cracking me up. Okay. 2 pence. It works just as you imagine. Involves as much buffoonery, gymnastics, pauses to readjust, switch hands. You're right. We have at least one pair of cuffs, varieties of lube, and get lonely,
can be found against bathroom walls between ringlets of graffiti. We too feared being alone with a woman. Once found her hair tie on the rug, blonde caught in metal, saved it. We've stood at S&M club snack tables, tugging Twizzlers with our teeth, yet can't count the times we felt a body open to pleasure, those noises it makes, like nothing you've ever heard. Tenderizers. Muscles tricky, softens in steam, but stiffens at the application of force, business end of a skillet. Some crack rib cages to lift the lace of fat, weave arteries, bypass blocks. Third time's the charm, he jokes, chest a mess of staples. It's the family affliction. What supple calcifies, and then can't wake us. At least, that's how Grandpa went, how we tell it. The truth is, he courted it, drew whiskey baths, wreathed in smoke. And I do much the same. Array clots to spasm, cold paddles to shock me back. History. While you never requested passage, your passport was stamped. Forceps delivered you into its environs. Its current tugs, but is rarely noted. Father parts a cloud of DDT, runs after it. Mother exits the dank brownstone with an abortion. The South hawks, spits you across a continent. It's only clear from afar. This play ends in a dead president. The blitz begins with that siren. Still, white faces squinted up at lynched men. Among them, children still alive. And we neglect to ask what they saw, when they turned away, as if today is a raft floated on, not the wave dragging us under. This is my last poem, and the title is I Survived, which is also, it's based on and also the name of a true crime TV show. I survived. Never pick up hitchhikers. Help a man on crutches load his van. Heed gut feelings, or else mimic intimacy. Shield your skull. Play dead after the second shot. Take deep breaths before being forced underwater. Hands hacked off to delay the ID. Scale the embankment. Flag a passing car. Tell everyone, just loved ones, or no one, because you hydroplaned over it. Don't recall a thing, or do, but only his fly popping undone, the sky searing blue beyond the trees, the taste of rope. No one wants to hear how time's gooey. Even now, if someone comes up from behind, walks a certain way, you fall back, can barely be reached. Faces haloed like streetlights in fog. And all the time, carry survival, necessary and half forgotten as tampons at the bottom of a purse, saying, you've bled, still bleed, live. Zimmerman is a poet and writer. Heliotropics, Dancing Girl Press 2017 is her first chapbook. Natalie's poetry has appeared in 99 Pine Street, Mouse Tales Press, Echoes, and Quarto, among others. An alumna of Barnard College, Natalie is the 2012 first place winner of the college's Prescott Prize for prose writing. She's inspired by music, history, and human beings' tenuous relationship with the natural world. Originally from New York's Hudson Valley, she now resides in Sonoma County with her husband. Please welcome Natalie.
Okay, we're good?
Yep.
Here. My first poem is called Listening to Guru on the Railroad. Where did that voice come from? It had the same static edge as my waking dreams at age 8, staring hard at the darkness of my room, the boring faces of the flowers on my curtains, creating a kind of electricity in the air. That was your voice. Now you slide from the speakers like tape unspooled. You've unraveled all of us, sitting here, reverent. We are at your feet. The mics are all in a row. The verboten words stacked on the wall, sometimes too quick to be drowned out. And we are still by the console, listening. The music is lined with heirlooms, 45s and grandma's old ring, discharge papers pinned to a yellow photograph. In this case, the inheritance is a lilt from a hot city night that slid into your notes. We hear a distant roar, the breakers on the shore, the waves against the city wall, the salty estuary spray, carrying the crackling noise between the burrows, the sound of you, bright and burnished through the air. The next one is Warp, Bark, Woof. This is the simple one. What is your presence? It is hexagonal, it is rich with photons, it is reminiscent of interborough travel. I did not notice the edge had dug into my skin and left a precious shadowy mark. What the fuck? You are a black slash down firm paper, watery paint confidently brushed. You're undercut with a vein of silver. Sycorax left you, but you have cracked and sanctified the rock, vacuumed the wire through. The burrows burn with your electrons. You smell of the island city. It is heliotropic. It is rich with photosynthesis. It is made of stamen and bird claw, pollen carrier, and brush of moth. You are the deliberate thread, the jagged edge, the blues night leaf unraveling. And my next one is called Another Moon. Tongues, another moon, the lumescence of leftover magma, cool breath to solidify the planet, the starlit flowers that gather on the beach, the bulbous stems as wet as the ocean, as curved as the waves, a thumbprint moon, a streak on the glass, a ricochet outward, a homing and a transplantation, my mother's moon, not the shores she played on, not the waves that licked her shins, not the network of roots that anchored her soil or the tributaries that watered her garden. Another moon, more dense and hazy. I cannot tell what fire propelled us forth to this lovely, hapless place where sunlight is a mean meal every morning. And the next one is called The Open Hand, or Picnic on Mount Tam. We are thickly layered, like your woods or the bristling matrix of wildflowers pinned to your chest, the upward motion of bugs, the sideways motion of people, crunching of small feet against your wide calico side. Our shiny spaceships trundle along your dun colors, slipping gracefully into another crevice, unreachable. Even so close to us, you are unreachable, your gentle top drifting above the quiet palette of cloud the people doze on below. You surpass us so that we can still be lost in you. You open and close like a hand to crush us, but you let us live still, gorging on your features, not stirring yet as we tread upon you. And my final poem is called Notes from the Medicine Show, which is about, there's an herbal college, I think it's in Forestville. They have like an expo every year where all the students like show their wares and all like the concoctions and beautiful, like, I don't know, it's really, really cool. And so these herbal folks inspired me. Slather yourself in roses so that you can breathe deep, opening the lungs to mountain air, deciduous and evergreen air, ravine air, sloping stream air, lacrimal air, the fog sliding in, flowing like a silk sheet over your fragrant bed. Jupiter twinkles in the distance, but Venus is another moon. Lithe and summery she appears, her rays are practically warm. Cradled in Venus's glow, the wildflowers grow, and they are jubilant, they are collaborative. The night blooming rest in the day, the others in turn. They are communal, intertwining, riotous, soft, special, gazing, melodic, crested with fuzzy plumage, their delicate hats, their fine linens, their velvety hems, sweeping the summer dust. This is mostly women's work. The digging, pulling, crushing, mixing, the gentle touch, the forgiving look, the understanding, the baby, the rushing stream, the direction. This is mostly what they call women's work because mostly nothing is being destroyed. The only sacrifice is the tender stalk, the unfurling leaves. There is no manner, only a path in the woods and the hands that reach down to dust off the dead leaves and unearth the treasure therein. Now slather those roses about your shoulders and rub them into your wrists so that you can circulate well. Dampen the seam of your elbow with roses to redden your muscles and rise up the green blood from the delicate soil in your limbs so that you are freshly wound, recently cut, smelling like heaven. The next poet you will be hearing is Alexandra Matraw. She is a Berkeley poet and fourth-generation native of Northern California. Alexandra's debut full-length book, Small Siren, is forthcoming in May from Brooklyn's Cultural Society. Alexandra is also the author of 4 chapbooks, including Flood Psalm from 2017 and In the Way of Harbors, both published by Dancing Girl Press. Her poems and reviews have appeared in American Letters and Commentary, Denver Quarterly, 1111, 14 Hills, the Poetry Project, Volt, the Volta, and elsewhere. Here in Oakland, she curates an art-centric writing and performance series called Lone Glen, which is now in its 7th year. So please welcome Alexandra Matraw.
I was getting really nervous about that bracelet and wanting to give it back to you. That was going to be my joke. So. Okay. Thanks so much for that introduction. And thanks so much to all the Dancing Girl Press authors who are here tonight and who made this happen. It's really special. And to Luann, this is an awesome bookstore. And I wish I had a break. So I'm going to read four poems. The first from Flood Song, and it's called The Fray. And it was written for my daughter, who just turned 3 this week. The Fray. Helicopters swing static. Treetops, I imagine he is. Redwood, bones break. All canopies fall, he says, tossing back the river. brown into his mouth. Backyard ash pits darker than stasis. Imagine her palm that grows tinier in mine. Her face still wet with trust only water has for sky, certain to pick it up again. Into day-bright feathers born to swarm, listening. I press my ear to hers. All sirens are there, circling nightfall once, none once, no one. Inside her tide rushes to pulse, then hushes mine, to beat back, not unlike this slow wind, shield our woman arms worn. I tried to pick at least like one lighter poem for you. This is the best. It's called Before Fracture, and it was actually inspired by structural engineering field notes that my partner brought home from Christchurch, New Zealand, after the big earthquake they had there several years ago. But it's also inspired by the rent crisis around here, so I don't know. This is what became of that. Before Fracture, you wanted the hotel window because the chandelier of your mind has gone out across the power lines. The formwork must not be removed for 36 hours. With one hand, a city rents your heart. Because you wanted the hotel window to look to the street, concrete is deposited in such a manner as will prevent the separation of ingredients. I crossed out to whisper at the size of it. Back lawn scatters lint under the clothesline. The concrete lot, so reason evacuates the chandelier of your mind, where we count dimples in the concrete lot of where care must be taken to ensure the coating, metal with mortar, a thorough compacting. Obsession for what one can hold with one hand in the robin's throat, opening across the power lines, shining parallel. Distance we spare, tired eyes for change, the lose of midnight, the zero of your smile, bullet pointiness. And I see Jessica way back there, and that poem was supposed to be dedicated to you, but as I come in, I thought you left. So there's actually a line in that poem that was inspired by one of your poems. We haven't talked about that. We should. Or maybe stolen. Lifted. Inspired. Okay. This one is called Reconstruction. We go inside to look for damage in cracked sheer walls, buckled high beams. Without much light, we wander, lanes visibly leaning and partially collapsed, the Grand Chancellor precariously studied by neighborhood buildings. We perform emergency reassessments, particularly for movement must be guided by what is. Heaviest, I feel each sticker to label trauma, green, yellow, or red surfaces, categorize. The firemen standing over parapets, fallen gargoyles, decimated facades, and everywhere aftershocks, 4 times a day, or the possibility of joy thickens, bricks on streets we're told were cleared of dead pigeons, drying squashed toads in summer heat. You can't enter a red building or anything opening so without a charter to grant a search warrant for the 10-story, 10-fold wreckage and the lobby cafe gathering safety. Glass around tables, abandoned islands harbor half-eaten bacon and eggs rotting the urban rescue. Debris away from cell phones lost to their own rings, still piling hasty, overgreased basements, flooding a blue glow, muddy water, floats through the unsold TV sets from the 70s storage unit. We count how many seismologists it takes to fail what substantially broken or free of severe injury can really mean. To measure the number of cracked wine glass claws, green bottle rims, searing our demand for a lifeline. Water and power systems wired into sewer nests of black sludge. And CPR dummies where our hour can't collapse, or at least not everyone will ever get out alive. Thanks. That one is from No Way of Harbors, also from Christy Bullock's Dancing Girl Press, which I'm so grateful for. And this last poem is called The Last Word, and it's about domestic bliss. I have 2 children, so, my partner and I, we do our best. They're 3 and 5. So, the last word. Why don't you say something nice for once? The baby rattlesnakes back and forth on the Cheerio crumbs flailing the car floor. We should get over green grass that hurts and moves on the railroad. Tracks open the mountain in 2 parts with a hole. Always at the center we hold our breath, then exhale, waiting for the moon to arrive. In one piece we force to feel relief at the rumble strip, aching its dark, sounding its small siren, and gravel warning like sandpaper, tasted suddenly under, the tongue chalking teeth forth and back to no. Reason we tether for the last word, our baby bobbing the car seat like a sad animal. I'll count to 10. You'll count on swallowing my back and forth. How many times you apologize, I become an echo, a hollow who I really wish was sorry. Of introducing Allison Moncrief. Allison Moncrief paints, writes, and tends chickens and children in Oakland, California. She is the author of the chapbooks Dawn Draper Checks the Window, Dancing Girl Press, 2017, and Cherry Stem, Finishing Line Press, 2017. Her work has appeared in the East Bay Review, Entropy, Rivet Journal, and Bay Area Generations. Welcome, Allison Moncrief. Thanks.
I'm going to read from Dawn Draper Checks the Window. I want to drink like Dawn Draper, from an old-fashioned glass, all day long in a TV hangover. Safe in my starched white shirt, soft and thick in the shoulders, easy in my creased American pants with their careless power. My missing self gently folded behind this drama mask hairline, behind my 5 o'clock shadow and my gorgeous boredom at business as usual. I do not mix drinks anymore, since I left the children alone one night to drive up the hill for a pale blue bottle of gin. That deadly hot summer when I pegged the laundry on the line in rainbow-fetical order and waited to have my skull sawed open. I filled their bright, shallow pool, replenished their stacks of practical sandwiches, stirred cans of tap water into concentrated fruit juice while hovering police helicopters ate the neighborhood's weekday peace. And 5 o'clock came earlier and earlier. There's nothing quite like pinning down a whole life using just a glass and some liquor. Nothing like watching antennae slowly lose their signals and panicked wings struggle less and less against the heavy edge. Everything's more awkward now since I ran out of drink tickets, and I say the privilege of knowing that and other feelings is a kind of power. Still, when I watch him pour a fat glass of rye at any old time of day, He's riled, victorious, bored. He's broken-hearted with being. When I watch him rushing numb from his car crash afternoon, his decent body, his fake freedom, and another brand of freedom moves in to stake its claim in the space of his heart, that's when I want to drink like Don Draper. Jane Eyre serves burgers to Don Draper at the In-N-Out. Her faith, twined up in a long braid, rolled inside a puffy polyester baseball cap. A layer of deep fry grease films her skin. She isn't the one who takes his order. She's the one who asks if they will be eating in the car. Yes, thank you, he says. On the trip from Gateshead to Lowood, Jane, leaving fear behind to throw her arms around sorrow, couldn't eat a bite. Betty and the kids are asleep in the car. Don swings left to land in line, drops his head in his hands, mumbling something about family supper. Jane, having learned about grace, left her package in the carriage out from Thornfield and spent 3 nights ravenous on the soil. As she adds 7 ketchup packages to the order, Jane Eyre is visualizing her first tattoo. A house on fire, a crystal ball. She watches Don arrange himself in his seat, leans out the window with his food boxes and placemats and sticker games for the kids. Does he seem decadent to her with his all-wheel drive, his double-doubles, and his strawberry shakes? Enjoy your meal, she says. He tells himself she does not judge him, that their solitudes are bumping up against each other in civility, that she too holds these things to be true. God is in the moment of our interchange, the devil in dominion over others. Don Draper is out of my league. The hell he is, but it's what I assume. But see, I am secretary, trusted with secrets, primarily my own. They are the agency located in the commercial district of my heart. They fledge under my watch, spiral up, free and off the air. This is anonymity. This is the new fame. I keep rye in my desk. I have a goddamn arc. My arc is atypical, mathematically anti-realistic, always being rewritten, unproven. I'd be happy to show you. Nothing. This is the last one tonight from me. Don Draper in the fetal position. When I see Don Draper curled up in the fetal position, I try to see myself doing the same and imagine caring about my own self the same as I care about him, easily in that moment, knowing his story and forgiving him all his dumb, cruel moves and self-hurt, focusing only on his kind things. I try to know on the same level of non-judgment the things of my story and have the feeling of compassion toward myself, like I do toward Don Draper in the episode where there's that crane shot of him, curled up on his daughter's bright 60s flower print twin bed in the fetal position when everything is falling apart. And another one when he is curled up on the mid-century couch in his office and we see him from above like God does. And I imagine somebody else watching me like God does and caring about me being curled up on the IKEA sectional or with the unicorn pillow pet on my daughter's twin bed when everything is falling apart yet no one sees me. It's only because of TV that I see him. He's not actually alone, not in need, but if he is, then he is lucky to have our care come his way through the TV and through his role and the people filming him. It's harder to regard myself curled up and loop the care feeling back into myself like a circulating fountain or a gray water system for my soul. It takes special equipment, a large crane probably, to deliver the vastness of the loving gaze of God. Thanks. The next reader is Kimberly Reyes. Kimberly has received fellowships from the Poetry Foundation, Columbia University, and San Francisco State University. Her poetry is available widely online and in print. Her chapbook, Warning Coloration, was recently released by Dancing Girl Press, and her full-length book, Running to Stand Still, is forthcoming from Omnidon. Kimberly is a writer-in-residence at the Pacific Felt Factory and a co-founder of the Study Hall Arts and Activism Fundraising Initiative in San Francisco. Kimberly?
Is this good? How awkward would it be if that wasn't my book? Pretty easy to spot. Okay, so the first one is Beloved, after Morrison. More than Pop-Tart's Bruce Banner, my mom's quick wit was our shared triumph, her beam still fighting, still light irises the color of her skin. Hearing her ignite through the voice of her dog, a sponge weathering the waves of the strange hide-and meat he obediently observed. Her banter, her barking, her delight in playing ventriloquist lulled us. More than the smell of blood, peroxide, falling off my dusty pink Mrs. Pac-Man skateboard, the scent of soreness from laughter, my grounding. I didn't know how much the scars would count, how age would become collage. Without the speckled blood of pavement, I could scrape the white off my fingernails, connect the dots on. How I'd mourn the dog she'd forgot she buried because it was an accident, because of her baby brother, who fought the hallucinations, scarlet scenes, a beloved, too precious for this world, sand small peach pills. How I'd mourn all she surrendered, boxed in wood under red clay, caked in cryonic fear, when she buried her mother the coming year. The interruption was simple, a paw wound for tending, small licks needing cleansing, a stovepat toppled over, a house left to bare bone. The smell of boiled fur hanging, I still remember, how the most innocent suffered the most cruelty. I learned, she turned to pray. For her, the specifics melted away, hid in the merciful wings of dismemory, running, panning out, painting a sigh, tasting a glance. She used to be able to do that. But survival required broad strokes, with the new slits of irons framing her nose, balancing the weight, my nascent compass, struggling to stand straight. Want, my MTV. More than AIDS, Arthur Ashe said his true burden was being black. CeCe DeVille said being a junkie was sexier than being fat. Everything I know I learned from TV. So my narration is jerky, maybe sometimes unreliable. I know Madonna said power is being told you're not loved, undesirable, and not being destroyed between commercial breaks. Push notifications. I haven't slept well since. It can't be counted in linear, not a measure, more a mark. The rewinding, this same part. The restless, the slips, a faded fluidity into these concrete times to disembody. This last one is called The Body, and it's a doozy. You keep reading about this woman you don't know. Maybe you knew back in J school. It was J school, so really, details you should remember. This woman disappeared. People, some you know, are memorializing and celebrating her work. They say she was smart, fearless, always smiling. Divers found her head today, and suddenly you realize you didn't know what was missing. You didn't know what happened. You scrolled, but stopped to read a funny post about Project Runway. Thought about Heidi Klum, how her nickname was The Body. You always thought that was weird. Heidi Klum sold makeup too, which required a face, or at very least a smile, to attach to the body. Tim Gunn is your hero. The name of the woman you don't know is Kim, was Kim. You should have remembered another Kim in your cohort, but she's not familiar. Not even when you see her headshot in the email for the memorial at your school. There have been a few. She was maybe your age, but strawberry blonde when she took the photo. Maybe there was a fan in the room, or she just turned her head for the flash at exactly the right time, which is hard to do, because she was engulfed by strands of orbiting amber flames crystallized aglow. You remember Madonna's hair floated the same way in the Live to Tell video. There was a Project Runway contestant, Stella, who pronounced leather without the R, which you didn't pick up at first because you're from New York, but then you saw how it was funny, how it became a joke, how people can be funny without even trying, if being funny just means people are laughing at you. You'd watch Project Runway in bed with this man with blue and red snake tattoos, who also secretly loved Tim's gun and Stella. He had a thick Boston accent that tickled as you both slowly cooed leather back at the screen. Once, through vodka breath, he told you the only reason you were in his bed, your body. He could take or leave your smile. Snakeskin is leather. Turns out turning out cattle isn't the only way. It could be any hide. Snakeskin can be expensive, tends to cost more when there's an ornamental head attached to the skin of what used to be a complete body. It took probably a month or more than months from what you could tell from people you vaguely knew were saying, through curated clicks, round yellow faces, a single tear. More than a month to figure out if it was an accident. You were just skimming, suppose maybe she fell off the boat. For a while you thought it could have been negligence. She could have been drinking, partying, smiling on this boat when something bad happened. No one's fault. Make it work is what Tim Gunn would snap at contestants and why he's your hero. Honestly, people try. Turns out Kim was reporting about a man on his boat, the way you learned in J school, studying a man in his natural habitat. One of the news stories you finally ingested said this man had mad fantasies about women's heads, mutilated torsos, burnt bodies. Kim was probably killed by this man she probably didn't know before she got on a submarine. A sub, not the dreamboat you envisioned. And you don't know what happened. You scrolled, but didn't know the story at all. Thank you. So the next poet is Catherine Shea. She was a fourth-generation Californian, having been born in Oakland to a mother who was born in Oakland. She is the author of several poetry chapbooks, most recently It's Raining Lullabies, Dancing Girl Press, 2017. Her poetry has been nominated for Sundress Publications' Best of the Net, 2017, and recently appears in Tar River Poetry, Gargoyle, Permafrost, Rust and Moth, Tinderbox, and elsewhere. Visit her website, catherineshea.com. Catherine.
Thank you. This is great. Procreation or not. Sex was a kind of organic calamity, a tremor along a fault line that tilted shacks off their foundations, a cloudburst over the creek that washed out the bridge. I know it's a cardinal sin to disregard a meteor shower, to miss the lyrids that stream from Vega. And Google Earth is a time capsule of my neighborhood as it was before the drought. If I had lived when mythology was truth, I would be 5'9" and I could have sex until I was slain after I gave a birth to triplets at 110. My first foray into human spawning was the back seat of a green Chevy Nova, and we went far. Nova, we say now. I didn't know any better then, and I don't know much more today. If you stop to ponder noesis and the vastness of thinking in the cosmos, I'm reinventing a glossary for continuum, my own bowling alley of worried gutter balls, a transient conscience. The Kid on Holiday. You can still get a ticket for the open-air bus that runs through El Nino Torrance. Destination to be revealed after you've paid with the lunch money of your childhood. You might fall off at a hairpin turn into a gutter or gully washer. The city ignores the bus. The suburb snubs the bus. A storm creaks open on rusted hinges. You think you'll get drenched. You want the stubbornness of a deluge. You want all hail to break loose, It's not about you and your parents and what happened when you were little, though the story is pleasant if you leave out the hard parts. And yes, there was a telephone. Do you remember its rotary dial and the short cord attached to the wall? There was no privacy, but nothing was ever recorded. Water spits through the gap teeth of the world. A cloud drools on your shoulder. You don't even need your earbuds and galoshes to love the piano notes of the puddle. And this is a newer poem. This is pretty brand new. Here's my backpack full of leaves. I steal words from magazines and newspapers, like a magpie falsely accused by the BBC of stealing shiny baubles. I stole the word backpack and then packed it full of pilfered leaves instead of troubles. Nothing that happens in California is real. I stole California so I could feel something's real in this state. Loving sneaks into my limbic monkey plumage and makes me wonder more. Like the 4 o'clock splash in the backyard bird bath. Something there seems real. And something good that would cheer up anyone. A baby girl just born to a distant cousin. Her button nose and Lilliputian fingernails. And my cat is why I have a cat. Okay, there's 2 more. These are inspired by Borat. Because I hate to say it, I know it's crass, but I love Borat. And they're kind of cool. After Baywatch and Borat, this. Headlines burst in UK tabloids. Pics ripe with matching platinum locks. Pamela Anderson and Julian Assange, friends with vegan benefits. Seem there are discreet visits to the Ecuadorian embassy's guest suite. What's the Spanish for compromat? La suciedad? The dirt. Tote heavy with no animal cruelty goodies. Pam's melons strain her clean wrap dress. Tanned gams atop dizzy black stilettos, revealing toe cleavage. Her chignon comes undone. Julian thinks Pam's idea is brilliant. She'll add Russian citizenship to her dual Canadian-American. And Julian has been scolded for leaving his sauce-dripping dishes all over the embassy divans. Pam brings disposable plate settings. What could be better than a cozy dinner of vegan cheeseburgers oozing beet juice blood on paper plates, and a toast of fermented kombucha to probiotics and the proletariat in giant recyclable cups? And my Borat throws Pam over for Ivanka. Her yabos are real, not fake like U.S. News, Borat says. Give her up already. Pardon his Kazakh crudeness. Borat has proven he can wait it out. Disguised as Vision reporters, Borat and his homie Azamat park their buns in the James S. Brady press briefing room. They yell at Sarah Huckabee Sanders, "Where is Ivanka? When can we see Ivanka?" "I'll get back to you on that," Sarah says, for the umpteenth time. Her green A-line dress projecting a CGI horse-drawn coach. "Rocksmith, thank," Borat winks. He mutters, "I'll singa osirayen." I emit gas into your mouth. Borat and Azamat stay at the Hay Adams Hotel. Order room service caviar, crepes with extra whipped cream, and a magnum of Snow Queen vodka. Not to worry, money is no object. They have mucho, how do you say, dinero, in hacked plastic. Borat tweets, a mooning selfie. We are doing great for time, by the way. And before I get off of here, I just can't thank everybody enough for coming out, and thank Luann, and thank, Allison and all the Dancing Girl Press women. Elizabeth Turner lives in San Francisco. Her poems have been published in magazines such as Burnside Review, Cake Train, Cut Bank, Fairy Tale Review, Gulf Coast, and Hangman, among others. She's been awarded a Tennessee Williams Scholarship to attend the Swanee Writers Conference and was elected as a poetry scholar for the Tin House Writers Workshop, which is no small deal. The Tales of Flaxie Char is her first chapbook. Right here. If you wish, you can find her on Twitter at LHORNERT. And I think we're already connected. Thank you, Elizabeth.
I like to pronounce that slightly French accent, Lornert. So I am the last reader tonight, and so I'll just read for probably 2-3 hours. So Flaxie Char came to me, her name came to me first, and then all the poems. This was several years ago when I lived in Los Angeles, and so it's been lots of years of revisions and things, but she's remained remarkably intact. And I'm just delighted that Dancing Girl Press wanted to put her together in her own little book. So I don't know if this happens to those of you who write poetry, but when somebody very well-meaning asks, well, what is it about? And it's extremely difficult to then explain that. And well, so Flaxie Char is a fairy who flunked at being a fairy and flunked at being a chimney sweep. She is going through the throes of coming off of drugs, recently lost her mother, and her father is missing. And usually by this point, people have either told me they need to go to the bathroom, or they're like backing slowly away. So the book is all about Flaxie and her life. They're written in loose sonnets. This is the first one actually in the book, called Off the Record. We give a girl a guide, she'll fly away. We give her crooks, she thinks, to eat and spit out the goods. Nothing quiet in these notes, and opinions have angels, at least a sacred book. Flaxie Char began her beguine a long time ago, with her mother beneath the ancient oak trees. It was warm, it was, and she didn't wear her sweater, even the shade was balmy. Lanterns in the branches, the perfect little girl story. Then fairies aren't some little girls, and they sure aren't all small. Flaxie knows she's blowsy. She sits in the trees to watch herself. She knows what she knew was over. No more mother or myths to plead to, instead flooding mail, cover spreads, calla lilies. The next one I'll read, and I'm a real class act. I mean, I've got a napkin with notes. This is great. So the next one is called Just So Much More Than Night Sweats. She's not behaving since Dr. Compulsory took her off the meds. I'm in between the numb and walking insane, she thinks. Twirls her chimney broom while hot sparks fly out her nose. Watch out for angry fairies or flunkies like Flaxie with penchants for belching clotheslines to dust. For this recovery, she hopes her doctor chokes on his soft cotton sheets, his cat's overdose on Thorazine, Chlorazine, Clorox, At sunrise, she wanders out her window, hangs off a roof to ponder the drugs. Pardon me. Hangs off a roof to ponder her lack of drugs. She didn't know twitches would start, or shadows, or that puddles of tears would curl up her wings, cause dreams of stars shivering out to their own endings. This next one is called In Between. Cranky lutes and banjos give pause for thoughts on the clues. She wishes Octavius could help more, even come along. She wishes she had friends her age, instead of old women and wizards. You can't be sadder than you are right now, her mother whispers in Flaxie's achy ears. Something flunky fairies keep in mind with their soot-wrung brushes and heat fevers, blue flashes, sweats alone in bed. She tried once, by the lake with the moon in her hair, the death she thought she wanted. She only fainted, and when she woke, her mouth filled with pebbles, shiny white like they glowed. Her mouth with rocks, her belly with water. She wondered if she could go then, but air flew through her open lungs. So I'll just read those 4 from Flaxie Char. I want to read one more, and I cannot believe I'm bringing my phone up to get a poem out, but I don't have a printer at home anymore. So this is from a new collection I'm working on called the After Now Collective, and I started it about this past summer, thinking about our current political and social lack of justice situation in our country. And so this is also a loose sonnet. And I just was playing around with the idea of now and thinking we can always do something later, and what happens when we don't do that. So it's very repetitive. This is called Tenses. The after now is now. It's now. The after now is now. We didn't think it mattered then. It mattered then. It matters now. It's important now. It was important then. But that now was then, and we didn't know. We know now. We know now is the past. It's past now, and it did matter, and now it matters. It will matter. We mattered then. We matter now. We will matter later, but it might be over then, and that now might not be. The past is now. The future is now. Our past was once our future, and our now never really was our now, was it? We disabled our now. We must wake up. We must wake up now. Thank you so much, Luann and Laurel Books, and this is so exciting to be here. And look, there are 7+ of us in the area. This is so exciting. So I won't take over. I don't know if anyone else wants to say any thank yous, but yay!